Good morning, African Confessions. Good morning, how are you? I am back with another episode. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and I received this message. It was sent to me by one of our admins, and the message reads like this. Hello, my brother, how are you? All that I can tell you is that life is not easy. Life is not easy at all. I am a woman who is aged 36, and life has not been easy for me. I have 4 children, and raising them is not a walk in the park. I lost my job about a year before lockdown, and I was staying in a gated community. Life was not easy. Life was just not easy for me, and I got a small pension fund. Within a few months, the money that I had gotten was all finished, and the place that I was staying in that gated community, I had to pay rent each and every month, and it was a lot of money. Downgrading was not an option because I never had money to go find another cheaper place since they needed deposit. You know, when you are staying in these townhouses, if the townhouse is going to cost you like 10,000 rands a month, when you find a place, you have to pay another 10,000 rands on top as a form of deposit. So I had to downgrade coming from the suburbs where I was staying, and I had to go and stay in places where they don't even bother about you paying the deposit before you move into that rental place. The house was not that difficult to find. The only problem was that for you to get accommodation in a place where they do not require any kind of deposit before you can move in, those places they are mostly in the high density area, and as someone who was used to stay in the low density area, this was not easy for me. I do not have parents and I don't have a place to go. The place that we stay, they want their rent on the first of every month, and I don't want to lie, days will run fast, especially when you are broke. But when you don't have money, days will be going by so slow. We went into lockdown and life became tougher. I came to a point where my bill accumulated, and after lockdown, I had to look for a job, and still there was no luck. The agent became impatient because I was owing about a year's rent. They were not allowed to chase us out, but the law at the time, because of the law that were put in place in the time of COVID, you were not allowed to kick out any of your tenants if they could not afford to pay you in time. We got a relief from the government. As much as my landlord wanted to kick me out of the house, they didn't have any choice because the government had put this law into place. But what they did is that they switched off my lights and they switched off the water. They wanted me out, but I could not go because I didn't have anywhere to go with the kids. With all the corona, where was I going to go to? My children were affected. They could not wake up and bath because we had no water. We had to save water. I borrowed money from friends till everyone was just tired of me. I had nowhere to go till a friend suggested that it is far much better that I find someone who had the small boys who could give me money. That is when I went to Mpumalanga. A friend took me there, and when I went there, I met a man who was in the mid 80s. He was a Swati speaking man, but when he spoke, I wanted to laugh because of the way that he spoke. He had a very big body, but when he spoke like a small baby. The way that he pronounced his word, you could laugh. When we entered into his consultation room, I had to get hold of myself. I didn't want to laugh at that man, but the way that he was speaking, it was so funny. I am a very light-hearted person, and I would laugh while he was speaking because I would find it funny. But the way that I was laughing, I was just laughing in my heart because I was afraid that if I show him that the way that he speaks, it is kind of like funny, maybe he was going to do something bad to me. Then he told me that I had to prepare myself for that night because he said that we were going to go to the graveyards to do the rituals. And when it was around 12 midnight, I was woken up and it was time to go. We wore black dresses and I was made to carry a black chicken on my head. We walked and we walked until we arrived. Then he pointed at this other grave. It was a grave that belonged to someone else who had money whilst he was alive. He said that all of these things he had seen it in the spiritual realm, so that is why he had chosen that man's grave. He told me that we had to be specific and be sure, otherwise, if we do it on the grave of a poor man, then his unfortunate lifestyle would follow me. I didn't want to be poor, I wanted to be rich. I slaughtered the black chicken whilst I was kneeling on top of that grave and I was singing. He made me to sing this song and he said that the words of that song are not to be uttered. The words are forbidden to be uttered, especially at night, by a person who never performed this ritual. I slaughtered the black chicken and let the blood of the chicken flow into the grave. Whilst I was slaughtering, the old man was making sounds to awaken the spirit of that dead man. I went on top of the grave and I slept there naked. Then I felt like I had become possessed. It was done and then I left. He gave me a root that I was supposed to keep in a bottle. Then I had to keep that root in my room. Upon arrival, he had told me that I should accept the gift that they had sent to me. I arrived back home and underneath my pillow there was money. I was shocked. For the first time in a very long time, I managed to go and deposit all of that money and I paid all of the rent that I was owing. We had light in the house and my kids were so excited. It only changed a few months into it. Every 3 days, that route will change, and I will suddenly see a very small boy, and I will see all of this in my sleep. And that small boy, Brother Nashi, he would get into my bed so that it can abuse me. That small boy will just start to sleep with me. I tried having relationships and all the men, they would just leave or they would die. I have tried to date a couple of guys and all of them, Brother Nanshi, they just die in a particular fashion. And this thing, it truly destroys me inside. When I date some men, they just dump me. I once dated a man and when it came time for me to go to his place, I went to his place. But the moment that I walked into his bedroom, he just said, please go back to your place. And he never gave me any reason. After a couple of days, that is when he said that the moment that you entered into my bedroom, I saw that behind you there was a man who was walking behind you. And that man, he was holding something that looked like a spear in his hand. And I just felt that if I was going to touch you, that man was waiting to kill me. There was another guy who once came to my place after begging him, Brother Nashi. I had spent about 4 months without having intercourse with any man. I just needed to be in a company. I just needed a man to be around me. That guy, he said that after sleeping at my place, he woke up, and the reason why he woke up and left without saying goodbye, it was because he was chased by a very big snake, and when he woke up, he was bleeding in real life on his hands because in his dream he had gotten bitten by the snake. That is how he left for good. But when I woke up in the morning, I saw that on the side where that man was sleeping, there was drops of blood. So when he told me that there was a snake that had bitten him in his sleep, and when he woke up, he saw physical evidence, I believed him. I just thought that maybe he had a wound and he had been bleeding from that wound. That is why he had left some blood stains on my sheets. But when he told me that story, I knew that this was for real. I am tired of this boy that comes to me, and if I leave him and return this Moti, I'll be back to poverty. What should I do? Please help me. There was another man that I visited. That man told me that I have to go and throw all of these things into the ocean, but he warned me and he told me that if I go and if I throw these things into the ocean, there is a possibility that I might die as well. He said you have to choose what you want, to live in poverty after you have thrown away this moti, or to die once you have thrown away this moti. Please, can you post my story? I am looking for anyone who can assist me. At least if the person is a traditional healer. I want this thing to be thrown away. But as for the money, I truly need this money so that my kids can continue with their education. On the side, I had started a very small business, but it is earning a lot of money, triple times the amount that other people who are in the same business that I am doing are getting. The reason why I am getting such huge profits, it is because of this small boy. What he does is that during the night, he goes around. I am not allowed to mention how he goes around getting all of this money, but he goes around to the people that I would have picked up. And when he goes, he will go and take the money. When month end comes, that is why some people, they will just find out that no matter how hard they try to budget, but at the end of the day, they won't have any savings at all. It is because I sent this small boy to go around and collect money to all the people that I would have told it to go and collect the money. And once it has collected that money, it will return that money in my bedroom or into my business. The thing that it cannot do, it cannot directly deposit the money into a bank account. It can only give me this money in cash. Dear listeners, right there was a message that I received from one of our admins. Strange things do happen in this world. Please let us talk about this issue in the comment section. I'll be back with another episode. Apologies for the poor sound quality because as for now I am recording whilst I am in the car. As soon as I get back on the laptop, then the sound quality might improve. I'll be back with another episode.